Because today there was that article on the Standard, yes? So it was Judiciary wants lawyer charged over online war. And the lawyer that they want charged is Ahmednassir. So Ahmednassir decided to reply to that by saying a senior judge of the Supreme Court took a bribe of 4 million to help a litigant with a case before a 3-judge bench of the Court of Appeal. The bribe giver lost the case and sought a refund from the judge. The Supreme Court judge refused to refund. His lawyer came to me, sought my assistance in the recovery of the 4 million shillings. After taking instructions in the normal course of my duty as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and senior counsel, I agreed to take up the brief. I then wrote a well-considered demand tweet to the judge. The judge, realizing the gravity of the matter and how watertight the case was, grudgingly agreed to repay the money in 2 installments of 3 million and 1 million. So I'm going to skip some part, and then he goes, instead of Ruto feting me in State House and awarding me a national award for my exemplary bravery and service for fighting corruption in the judiciary and recovering 4 million from a senior judge of the Supreme Court, this may be the first time, blah, blah, blah. So he's literally saying that these judges are bribed. So he says, remember in 2022, 4 judges of the Supreme Court took $2 million each to overturn Ruto's win and didn't deliver. They refused to refund the money. One of the 4 judges is the one who took and returned the 4 million. I'm being chased around like a criminal. They say we are fighting corruption. So when we see this, what we think about is the judiciary is just corrupt. And that means that any petition like this, which needs very sober judges to listen to the arguments, will go nowhere, because at the end of the day, they are either indebted to Ruto or... So when you see this as a lawyer, how do you feel?
You know, some of these issues that Ahmednassir raises about the judiciary, I'll just wish that he followed up to their logical conclusion.
Yes.
And more so, like in this particular instance, when he alleges that there was a sum involving a 4 million bribe.
Yes.
This is straightforward. So you get both the bribe giver and the bribe receiver, and make the information public.
Yes.
Because if you don't make this information, if you've gone public with part of the information and not the full disclosures, what you are doing is that you are now casting doubts on the credibility of the entire bench.
Yes.
But if he said this is the case, this was the bribe giver, this was the judge, this is the evidence that the judge received, then action can be taken against that individual judge, should be taken. But leaving it like this is psychological control of the entire Supreme Court.
Yes.
Because now you have all the judges of the Supreme Court each now looking behind their back. And some of these psyops is what even helps the political establishment to control the judiciary. Because now everybody is on tenterhooks. They don't know what is out there about the individual. I will only urge Ahmed that he will do a great public service if he doesn't stop at innuendos.
Yes.
And if he cares about the rule of law in Kenya and judicial accountability, he should move to the next level and publish the name of the judge.
Yes.
Publish the name of the person who bribed the judge, because all of them are criminals. Yeah, the person who gave the bribe was giving a bribe for what purpose? He was also advanced the rule of law.
Yeah.
And we take all of them to jail because these are offenses under the Bribery Act. It should not be that this was a deal making. There's no deal here. This was an illegality that was being done by somebody who had sought out to influence the outcome of our judicial proceedings. And that judge and that briber should all be arrested, if at all the evidence exists.
Yeah.
But failing to prosecute this thing to its logical conclusion, then Ahmed may be doing a disservice to the rule of law in this country and the quest for judicial accountability.
Okay.
It is not enough to just raise innuendo. It is much better if he follows it up with the concrete action. And names are cited of the persons who gave the bribe, the persons who received the bribe. And what was his fees?
Yes.
Or is he just making noise because he did not get his fair share, as he claims there was his legal fees entitlement in the whole matter? So if he was paid his legal fees, will he still be public about it?
Yeah. And as someone who was involved in the 2022 petition, when you hear something like this, that 4 of the judges were paid That's basically
You know that thing
a
I've
billion.
heard it so many times being said. But the unfortunate bit is that I'm not seeing the people who say it don't follow it up with concrete evidence, or because sometimes they even need to say their videos, their photos of the judges receiving the bribe. But you don't see this being followed up with concrete evidence or action. Somebody moving concretely to say, okay, I am filing my affidavit. This is the chain of events that's transpired. This is the money that was paid. So I leave it that all these acts, without any concrete action being followed up, leads to undermining the credibility of the judiciary.
Yes.
And the judiciary is not doing itself a favor, especially the Supreme Court of Kenya. Some of the judgments they've come up with, it just leads credence to these allegations, unfortunately for them. Because they need to, in my view, apply fidelity to the Constitution. Their decisions should be decisions that even any layman on the street will say, I will have arrived at the same decision.
Yes.
So the law is the law. There is no hidden meaning in the law that you can tell me that a judge reads the law differently from the way a lawyer will read it. Lawyers can read it differently to suit a particular occasion, but a judge and a layman, that is why in the US or in some jurisdictions they have the juror system.
Yes.
It is anybody. There is no judges don't come from heaven. There's nothing special about them. They don't actually have some special knowledge that don't exist amongst we mere mortals. They are just part of our mortal society, but have been given a higher duty to preside over disputes.
Yes.
So even as you preside over disputes, whatever outcome you come with, any man on the street will say, even me, if I had that case, I will have arrived at the same outcome. Because there's nothing peculiar that judges have that the society does not have.
Yes. Okay. So, because even that's what I wanted to say. Like, now, if the public looks at this and we start thinking this is a senior counsel, he's saying judges are bribed, how are you supposed to believe in the justice system as it is? Because, you are insiders. And if one of the insiders is telling us, like, you know what, here, if you buy a judge, everything goes. So even for you, when you're arguing a case, do you argue it like, this is I'm going to win on merit, or do you argue it knowing that I might need to meet the judge for nyama choma?
In fact, if you ask me, in the absence of Ahmednassir following up with the names and concrete evidence, Ahmednassir should be arrested.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he should be arrested if he doesn't follow up with it. Because we don't want him to just say without evidence or any action, follow up.
Yes.
This thing, if it is true, and Ahmed believes it is true, it leads all of us, not just lawyers, but even members of the public, to start questioning, why should I take my dispute to court if that is just a market zone where people are trading? So the judiciary should have Ahmednassir arrested.
Yes.
If they don't arrest him, then it means what he's saying is right. Okay?
Yes.
They don't want to push him to disclose the names. So for me, the main thing is that, if possible, before the end of this week, Ahmednassir should have been arrested. If he has not followed up with the names and evidence. But if they don't arrest Ahmednassir by the end of this week, then I will now believe that Ahmednassir is right.
Okay. Because the judiciary has released a statement, yes? And this is today. So they're saying on the 20th of May, the judiciary took the unprecedented step of requesting the Director of Public Prosecutions to call for investigations into the conduct of senior counsel Ahmednassir, who's consistently disparaged the judiciary, its leadership, and the judges with relentless but baseless claims of corruption. So if I was to skip, they finish with, we therefore reiterate our call to the Director of Prosecutions to take appropriate action within his constitutional mandate. We also urge the leadership of the Law Society of Kenya and the Senior Counsel Bar to take such measures as are within their respective mandates to bring discipline and order among its members, and specifically CS Ahmednassir. And I think this is basically the same thing you're saying, because at the end of the day, this makes the rest of us just lose faith in the judiciary. We're like, this is, it's a market,
In fact, one thing that the judiciary should do, even as they are pursuing the criminal complaint, I expect the Supreme Court of Kenya to sit and cite Ahmed for contempt.
Yes.
Because to cite him for contempt and sentence him to 6 months imprisonment, that should happen soonest. But barring any action from the judiciary of them taking their own initiative internally, then it starts letting credence to what Ahmed is saying. Otherwise, why are they not taking action when they have all the powers and the instruments to reign on Ahmed? But I do hope that Ahmed also is a response.
Yes.
So on both sides, Ahmed, give us names and evidence by Friday. Judiciary, let us have Ahmed cited for contempt by Friday and sentence him to 6 months imprisonment.
Okay.
So uko US na unatrai kutuma do Kenya, baki umetumia LemFi. Na reason ya kutumia LemFi ni LemFi inakupatia the highest exchange rates. Alafu apart from that, juu ya LemFi unabaki umetuma $8,000 in one day. Ama unaweza tuma $16,000 in 1 week. Ama unaweza tuma $32,000 in 1 month. Hiyo ni up to 4 million shillings in 1 month. Na ni simple kabisa. LemFi app unaweza baki umepata kwa App Store na pia unaweza ipata kwa Google Play. Another reason ya kusign up kwa LemFi ni wewe ni Iko Nini fan. Na umekuwa ukishindwa nizaje support Iko Nini. Naweza support aje asi. Kuna vile saizi jo mfuko ni mbaya. Lakini need kutumia mother dose, so siwezi tumia Iko Nini chochote. Kuna a very easy way ili unaweza kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Support your family na pia support Iko Nini. Na unafanyaje hivyo? Unabaki umesign up to LemFi using our QR code. Baki umescan QR code. Kama si hivyo, ubaki umetumia the link ile tumeseti kwa description. Na usisahau the first $100 ile utatuma, wewe mwenyewe utapata $20 cashback. Alafu sisi juu tumekurefer, pia sisi tutapata $20. Unacheki, utakuwa umesupport Iko Nini, ndio tuendelee kukupatia the conversations that you like. Na pia kitu inabamba kabisa ni saizi kuna vile LemFi ina support both M-Pesa paybill numbers na till numbers. Inamaanisha unabaki umelipia madhako internet ukiwa majuu. Unaweza mlipia stima bado ukiwa majuu. Unaweza make sure that madhako iko both connected na pia keja yake iko lit up. Na hiyo ni courtesy of LemFi. LemFi, international payments for everyone. Iko Nini.
The other processes can follow post this. Either side not taking action, it means there's something they are both trying to
And if those sides don't take actions, now we are CCing the DPP.
So I think the judiciary has taken action, or?
No, the judiciary's action, it's one step to write a complaint.
Yes.
We don't want you to write a complaint to the DPP as part of managing the public expectations, perceptions. No. As a court, because this is targeting the Supreme Court.
Yes.
As a court, they have instruments of sanction. Let them proceed to hear him for contempt like they did before.
Okay.
When they barred him. Let them now hear him and sanction him.
Yes.
Imprison him for 6 months for contempt of court. Don't stop him from attending that court. Send him to prison for 6 months. If you really mean that you want to ensure the fair administration of justice. This is a contemptuous act. But if Ahmed also believes that he has enough evidence, when the application for contempt, when he's invited by the court for contempt, let him bring the evidence and show them this is it. So this is not contemptuous. There is actually evidence in support of the assertions that I'm making. And here it is. This is the name of the judge. This is the bribe giver. This is the evidence. And then beyond that, it's not enough to leave it at there was a bribe giver and now you pay Ahmed his legal fees. No. Arrest the bribe giver, arrest the judge, take them to court for criminal proceedings.
Yes.
That is when you'll start reinstating public confidence.
Yes.
In the judicial process.
So, because if we were to refer to that, so the letter had been written first by Winfrida Mokaya, the chief registrar of the judiciary.
Yes.
So this is what it was through a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, on the evening of 15th May 2025. Senior counsel Ahmednassir alleged that a judge of the Supreme Court was involved in a serious impasse with a lawyer after they paid the judge a bribe of 4 million shillings to influence the Court of Appeal a case that is. So there is that where he's very specific and also very vague.
Yes.
So this is what he is saying, that now, because what Harvey said was what a Muppet thought. Are there no petitions against the embattled 7 judges of the Supreme Court? Have the judges not stopped JSC from trying them through the High Court orders? Corruption in the judiciary must and will continue being called out loudly and unconventionally. So that's what Nelson Harvey is saying. So you when you hear this, because it seems like this corruption is just you who does not know about it.
No. You know, I'm not saying, at least I've not come across corruption with any individual judge that I can say I have an experience. Because
Yes.
me, if I came, I will, you know, me, I don't hide my things. Me, I'll say it. I'll say so-and-so was bribed in this case and gave this decision. One who is not fast to cast aspersions on people's character.
Yes.
But if I have evidence, I will not use innuendo. I'll hit straight. I'll shoot straight and say this one was bribed this much in this particular case,
Yes.
and give the outcome. What I'm urging of my senior colleagues that leave alone even the GSC petitions, those who are informed with different set of facts.
Yes.
This one, as Ahmed represents it to the public, this one is very fresh, and it seems this time he has it. He has a smoking gun.
Yeah.
That smoking gun cannot end on Twitter, on X. If you have a smoking gun, you must take it to its logical conclusion. Give us names of the bribe giver and the bribe receiver. And if you have pictorial evidence of how the transactions took place, give it. Without that evidence,
Yes.
then this is just part of what I'll call a judicial harassment. But also on the court, if you truly believe that there is no evidence that this is just part of judicial harassment
Yes.
by Ahmednassir and senior bar, some members of the senior bar, then we expect you to summon Ahmed, cite him for contempt, and jail him. If indeed you believe that you care about the rule of law
Yes.
and judicial accountability, do it. But they are fighting with velvet gloves, both sides. That's what I don't agree with.
Oh, okay. Also, you also feel even he's fighting with
It's velvet gloves, yeah. Maybe he's putting it pressure to influence certain cases that will appear in later in the future.
Yeah.
That I can always go ballistic on you. The other side is also just a slap in the wrist. Okay, the DPP is looking into you.
Yes.
If we really cared, if this thing was informed by a desire that is informed by the need for fair administration of justice, at this stage we should not be second-guessing which judge it is,
Yes.
or second-guessing if the Supreme Court is going to cite him for contempt. We should be seeing things moving quickly.
Yes.
The registrar should not just have issued a statement. They should have already convened the Supreme Court and sentenced this man. Yeah. And even him on the other side, he should not just be issuing tweets.
Yes.
He should have given us names and evidence
And dates.
of the judge and dates. Give us particulars.
Yeah, because in this situation where it was paid with 3 million and 1 million, it's such a open and shut case.
This should be.
Yeah.
Yes.
It should be if it is indeed true.
Yeah.
And that is what for me I say. I'm still just seeing people this is a cat and mouse game they're playing with each other. Until I see positive action emanating from both sides, I will say they're playing with our minds. It's
Okay.
a psyop, probably.
You're quite certain with the term 6 months, eh? Should be jailed for 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Contempt.
maximum.
That's the maximum.
That's the maximum for contempt of court is 6 months.
Okay.
So I'm actually advocating for maximum punishment.
Yes. Because like making us lose faith in the judiciary is not a good thing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's for most people, that's our last resort.
That's the last resort, yeah.
Yes.
You don't want people to start losing faith in the courts. Because the last time when we didn't have faith in the courts, it was a very painful experience for the people of Kenya.
Yes.
When the 2007 elections took place and people were saying, go to court. We were like, we are not going to court, we are going to the streets. And we lost Kenyans.
Yes.
Thousands were displaced. Property worth millions were destroyed. Nobody ever wants to go back to that kind of a situation.
Yeah.
We want a situation where if people disagree, we have a court system that we have trust in, and we can always take our disputes to that court. And whichever outcome the courts give us, we'll all feel that justice was served.
Because even in this situation still, I think we were talking to Mathakarua and she hinted at that. We asked her like if she feels there is any corruption in the judiciary, and she was like, yeah, ask Ahmednassir, because he'd know. And the way she implied was the same thing, like he harasses the judiciary. Because this is how it looks from the outside. At some point, without evidence, even for us as lay people, you're like, this is now harassment, because you'd just tell us who or just shut up.
Yeah. And what for me the sad part is, why is the judiciary not asserting itself in the face of this harassment. This is if there's no evidence, it is bullying. Yet they have instruments of control
Yes.
that they can use to sanction and to stop the harassment. And one of them, as I've said, is contempt committee. Let him stay there for 6 months. He has no access to his phone. We'll have peace for 6 months then. And we'll see that the judiciary is
The
working.
judiciary have time to
But why are they not doing it?
recover its image.
Yes, but why are they not doing it? So me, I'm still at the point where I'm asking, why are they not doing it?
Yes.
Yes.
Why are they afraid?
Why are they afraid? Why are they not doing it? That is where I am. That is where I'm still saying, okay, maybe there's too much, there's more to this than what we are being fed on.
Yeah. But then this would be so interesting where someone comes from receiving a bribe of $2 million to 4 million shillings. I feel like you should even be ashamed.
No. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you. You know, once you start receiving a bribe,
Yeah.
forget about quantum. Quantum becomes immaterial. Someone will receive a bribe of $1 million US today. The next day he'll be receiving a bribe of 5,000 Kenya shillings.
Yeah.
Because it's the principle.
Ini ya mafuta.
Yeah, any mafuta sasa. Because that now becomes what the driving force. Then they live on bribery. So a bribe taker does not have principles.
Yes.
It shows that you don't have any values. So once you lose values, you have no morality to even choose that I only take bribes of this much. You are now hallotic. You can take anything that comes your way.
Okay.
Yeah.